Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. So far, I've been your host, Zero Yeti, and happy Pride Month, as well as happy Jurassic June. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first animal of the week being Terrapene ornata, better known as the ornate box turtle. It is one of only two terrestrial species of turtles native to the Great Plains of the United States, where it can be found throughout the Midwest, from Wisconsin to the Gulf of Mexico, and from Louisiana to Colorado. It is one of two different subspecies of the Terrapene ornata, with the other being the desert box turtle, Terrapene ornata luteola. It is the state reptile of Kansas and Nebraska, and ornate box turtles tend to inhabit grasslands, shrublands, deserts, open forests, and agricultural lands, where they dig simple but sturdy burrows that can be several feet deep. They utilize these burrows to hibernate during winter and through periods of drought. Ornate box turtles feed upon grasses, berries, insects, and other invertebrates, fruits, vegetables, seeds, and carrion. They are themselves preyed upon by canines, felines, skunks, raccoons, copperheads, minks, ravens, crows, and hawks. Reaching around 4 to 6 inches or 10 to 15 centimeters in length and 7 to 19 ounces or 200 to 400 to 540 grams in weight, with males being slightly smaller than females. The ornate box turtles are relatively small for a turtle. They sport a unique hinged shell, and they have the ability to completely close. The bulk of this species' shell, tail, heads, and limbs are mostly dark brown or black in color. They have concentric rings on their shells that indicate their age, as well as elaborate thick yellow lines that surround their scutes. Additionally, sexual dichromatism exists in the species, with males sporting red eyes, whilst females have brown to completely black eyes. Breeding occurs from April to October, with both sexes mating with as many mates as possible. However, through the practice of sperm storage, a female turtle will lay only 1 to 3 clutches of 2 to 8 eggs per year. The eggs hatch after around 60 to 90 days, and under ideal conditions, a male ornate box turtle will reach sexual maturity around 5 years, and females at around 8. An ornate box turtle may live upwards of 40 years. Next up is Ornithomimus. A genus of ornithomimid theropod dinosaurs lived throughout what is now North America from the Campanian to the Maastrichtian ages of the late Cretaceous period, some 76.5 to 66 million years ago. The first known remains of the type species Ornithomimus velox, consisting of partial hind limbs and a forelimb, were found in the George Lyman Canyon in the Denver Formation of Colorado on June 30th, 1889. These were first named and described by Othniel Charles Marsh in 1890, and the generic name means bird mimic, derived from the Greek words ornis, meaning bird, and mimos, meaning mimic, in reference to the bird-like foot. The species name means swift in Latin. At first, Marsh assumed that Ornithomimus was an ornithopod, but this changed when Hatcher found a partial ornithomimid skeleton in Wyoming. Afterward, numerous Ornithomimus remains would be recovered, and unfortunately, it would become commonplace to name each newly described ornithomimid as a species of Ornithomimus. Luckily, however, the genus was saved from becoming a wastebasket taxon by Dale Russell, who in 1972 published a morphometric study on ornithomimids. This study established Ornithomimus and Struthiomimus as both being firmly valid genera, as well as establishing two new genera in the form of Archaeornithomimus and Dromaeomimus, and consolidated all the remaining species of Ornithomimus into just two species, Ornithomimus velox and Ornithomimus edmontonicus. Additionally, in 1979, Donald Baird and John R. Horner would find that many of the remains of a creature known as Silurus antiquus from the Navesink Formation of New Jersey and Maryland actually belonged to Ornithomimus, giving the genus a now continent-wide distribution. Reaching around 12 feet or 3.8 meters in length and 370 pounds or 170 kilograms in weight, Ornithomimus were swift bipedal animals characterized by feet with 3 weight-bearing toes, long slender arms, a short torso, and long necks with bird-like elongated toothless beaked skulls. Next up we have Trionophila clavata, also known as the Joro spider. It is a spider in the Trichonophila genus, which is native to East Asia, including China, the Korean Peninsula, Taiwan, and Japan. It was introduced to North America via shipping containers sometime in the early 2010s, and has since been spreading rapidly along the Gulf and East Coast. However, thankfully, as they primarily eat other introduced species, such as various species of stink bugs and mosquitoes, so their impact on the native environment seems to have been minimal. The common name of the spider comes from the Jorojumo, a legendary spider in Japanese folklore that can transform into a beautiful woman who can breathe fire and control other spiders. In contrast, the real-life Joro spider poses no significant risk to humans, with their small fangs, weak venom, and reluctance to bite. The temporary pain and redness inflicted by their bites is compared to that of a bee sting. And like many other spiders, species in the Joro spider are carnivorous, feeding upon various insects and other small invertebrates, which they catch utilizing their complex webs, which may reach several meters in length. In sunlight, the yellow threads appear to be rich gold in color. The structure of the web seen in cross-section is unusual for an orb weaver, as it has 3 layers, a central orb plus 2 irregular layers in front and behind the orb. Somewhat unique among spiders, T. clavata are known to live in close proximity to each other. Additionally, they have a unique travel method, trailing long silk threads from their body to catch the wind. Joro spiders will use the wind currents to balloon on, floating through the sky as it gently glides up to 100 miles away. Like most spiders, females are much larger than males, and adult female's body is around 17 to 25 millimeters or 0.67 to 0.98 inches, while males is just 7 to 10 millimeters or 0.28 to 0.39 inches. Both sexes have large abdomens with long legs. The adult female individual has stripes of yellow and dark blue, with red towards the rear of the abdomen. In autumn, smaller males may be seen on the webs of females for copulating. After mating, the female spider spins an egg sac on a tree, laying 400 to 1,500 eggs in one sac. Her life cycle ends by late autumn or early winter, with the death of the spider. After overwintering as eggs, the next generation emerges in the spring. Next up is Paralichthes ovacinus, better known as the olive flounder, the bastard halibut, the Japanese flounder, the hiriame, the guanggio, the yaping, the bayan koyu, or the Korean halibut. It is a temperate marine species of large-toothed flounder native to the northwestern Pacific Ocean. The olive flounder is often found in soft and muddy offshore coastal areas up to 330 feet or 100 meters deep. However, they are occasionally found in and around deep-sea ocean trenches. They are carnivorous ambush predators which feed upon small fish, crustaceans, mollusks, polychaete worms, as well as carrion and fish eggs. Reaching on average around 3.5 feet or 1.07 meters in length and 20 pounds or 9.1 kilograms in weight, the olive flounder has an unusually flat appearance that's well suited for its bottom-dwelling lifestyle. To see everything above it, the flounder has 2 big round eyes projected from small stalks on the same side of the head. The flounder's scales act as camouflage, which makes it difficult for both predators and prey to detect it against the ocean floor. Olive flounders spawn any time from January through August in shallow water. Here the young will remain for the first months of life. Olive flounder first start upright like normal fish, but then after around 24 to 50 days after hatching, they turn onto their side and begin a metamorphosis. Their previous side now becomes their belly, or underside, and then their eyes and nostrils move towards what is now considered the back. Once their transformation is complete, they head into deeper waters. Under ideal conditions, an olive flounder may live upwards of 10 years. And then next up, we have Canis rufus, better known as the red wolf, is a canine native to the southeastern United States. The red wolf's taxonomic classification has been separated as being a separate species has been contentious for nearly a century, being classified as either a subspecies of the gray wolf, Canis lupus rufus, or a coy wolf, a genetic admixture of wolf and coyote. Because of this, it is sometimes excluded from endangered species lists despite its critically low numbers. After several genomic studies and scientific reviews, the position of the natural academies is that the historical red wolf forms are a valid taxonomic species, and modern red wolves are distinct from gray wolves, eastern wolves, and coyotes, and modern red wolves trace some of their ancestry back to historic red wolves. Red wolves once roamed throughout the eastern, southern, and central United States, from the Atlantic coast into Texas and Oklahoma, and from the Gulf of Mexico up into southern Ontario, Canada. The red wolf was nearly driven to extinction by the mid-1900s due to aggressive predator control programs, habitat destruction, and extensive hybridization with coyotes. By the late 1960s, it has occurred in small numbers on the Gulf Coast of western Louisiana and eastern Texas. 14 of these survivors were selected to be founders of a captive breeding population, which was established at the Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium in 1974 and 1980. After a successful experimental relocation to Bulls Island off the coast of South Carolina in 1978, the red wolf was declared extinct in the wild in 1980 so that restoration efforts could proceed. In 1987, the captive animals were released to the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, or ARNWR, and the Amber Morrell Peninsula in North Carolina, with a second unsuccessful release taking place 2 years later in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The wild population rose to as many as 120 individuals in 2012, but due to a lack of regulation enforcement by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the population has declined to just 8 as of October 2021. Under pressure from conservation groups, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service resumed reintroductions and protections in 2021. Additionally, over 240 red wolves are maintained in 45 separate captive breeding facilities. Red wolves can adapt to a variety of habitats, including prairie, marshes, swamps, forests, and agricultural fields, where they feed upon pigs, deer, raccoons, rice rats, muskrats, nutria rabbits, and carrion. Reaching around 53.5 to 65 inches, or 136 to 165 centimeters in length, and 44 to 85 pounds, or 20 to 39 kilograms in weight, with males being typically larger than females. Red wolves are morphometrically distinct from coyotes, gray wolves, timber wolves, and hybrids. Notable features include the large ears and longer, more slender limbs. Its pelage is typically more reddish and sparsely furred than coyotes and gray wolves, though melanistic individuals do occur. Its fur is generally tawny or grayish in color, with light markings around the lips and eyes. The red wolf is a more sociable animal than coyotes, but less so than gray wolves. It mates in January to February, with an average of 6 to 7 pups being born in March, April, and May. It is a monogamous species, with both parents participating in the rearing of young. And by the age of 6 weeks, the pups distance themselves from the den and reach full size at around 1 year of age, becoming sexually mature 2 years later. Under ideal conditions, a red wolf may live up to 16 years. Next up, we have Icarosaurus, a genus of Kuhinosaurid reptile, which lived throughout what is now North America during the Norian stage of the late Triassic period, some 221 to 206 million years ago. The only known fossil which is definitively belonging to Icarosaurus was found in 1960 in North Bergen, New Jersey by Alfred Cyphecker, a teenager at the time who stumbled upon the specimen while exploring a quarry. Said specimen consists of a partial skeleton missing part of the tail, some ribs, and a hand, as well as some parts of the legs. Cyphecker brought the specimen to the scientists at the American Museum of Natural History in New York for identification preparation. It was described by paleontologist Edwin Harris Colbert in 1966, who named it Icarosaurus cypheckeri, with Icarosaurus meaning Icarus lizard, and cypheckeri honoring Cyphecker. The fossil remained in the collections of the AMNH until the late 1980s. In 1989, Cyphecker reclaimed the specimen, which he kept in private collection throughout the following decade. In 2000, Cyphecker sold the fossil at auction in San Francisco through the auction house Butterfield and Butterfield, despite concerns from the paleontologists that the sale could render the specimen unavailable for scientific study. The fossil sold in the U.S. for $167,000, only half its appraised value, to Dick Spite of California. That same year, Spite donated Icarosaurus back to the AMNH, where it was put on display on October 7, 2000, reaching just 4 inches or 10 centimeters from the skull to hips and possible 6 to 8 inches or 15.2 to 20.3 centimeters in total length. Icarosaurus was a small animal. Like its relative Kuhenosaurus, it was able to aerially traverse short distances using wings consisting of highly elongated ribs covered with skin. These gliding membranes would have had a convex upper surface and concave lower surface, thus creating a simple airfoil-like structure well suited to gliding. And the last animal of the week is the Lepocopsar rothschildi, better known as the Bali Myna, Rothschild's Myna, the Bali starling, the Bali Myna, or the Jackal Bali. It is a species of critically endangered bird native to northwestern Bali and its offshore islands in Indonesia, where it is the island's only endemic vertebrate species. Here they inhabit forests and mountain regions, living in flocks of 20 to 30 individuals and feeding upon a variety of fruit, seeds, worms, and insects. The Bali Myna was formally described in 1912 by German ornithologist Erwin Stresemann based on a female specimen collected on the island of Bali in Indonesia, and the species name honors Lord Walter Rothschild, a British ornithologist who financed the expedition. Reaching around 10 inches or 25 centimeters in length and 2 to 4 ounces or 70 to 115 grams in weight, the Bali Myna is a medium to large starling which sports a beautiful snow-white plumage with black tips on the wings and tail feathers and striking sky-blue patches of skin around the eyes. Their breeding season corresponds with the rainy season, and during such time males attract females by calling loudly and bopping up and down. The birds nest in tree cavities, with females laying and incubating 2 to 3 bluish-green eggs. Both parents take turns incubating the eggs, and once hatched, both take care of the chicks. The young fledge in around 12 to 28 days and continue to be fed by their parents for a few more weeks. Under ideal conditions, a Bali Myna may live upwards of 15 years.